everyone. Welcome to the rundown. We have breaking news. We believe at this point that Peter Prigozhin has been killed in a what appears to be some form of aviation accident. We're going to discuss that in a minute, but his plane was spotted falling out of the sky. We have footage of that. We have some footage from the crash site. We believe there were at least 7 people on board. The initial number of 7 appears to be from the manifest. It is now being reported that there were 10 on board. All are believed to be dead. It was Prigozhin's. It was a Wagner airplane belonging to Prigozhin. We also believe that 𝐒𝐤𝐜𝐿, who was a founder of Wagner and was Prigozhin's right-hand man, was also on board. I'll be honest with you, when I think about what would constitute a nightmare, seeing this guy, this is, oh dear. So this is the founder of Prigozhin right here, 𝐒𝐤𝐜𝐿, who does not look like a pleasant fellow. We believe he was on the plane as well and is also reportedly dead. Let's see if we can get, so I think we have from 2 different angles here footage of the airplane. Actually, we should also get a picture of said airplane. So let me get that. It was a small plane. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to get that to you right now. Here you go. This was the airplane, and a plane bearing the tag number there, RA02-795, took off in Russia and fell out of the sky and crashed. Prigozhin and all on board are, at least preliminarily, we're told, are dead. The manifest listed 7, but we're being told right now that there was in fact 10 on board, and none are believed to have survived. This happened roughly an hour ago. Let's see. We've got 2 different sets of footage. Let's see if we can get... so this is one of the footage of it falling out of the sky. You can see it seems to be spinning, perhaps smoking, and just basically coming straight down. Now, it appears to be largely intact. One of these has been looked at by an analyst. We don't know the credentials of the analyst. We don't know if they're qualified to opine on this, but they claim that there's evidence in this particular video that I'm showing right now that it was actually hit by Russian air defenses. We don't know. It's certainly possible. It wouldn't surprise me. Going on an airplane that had Prigozhin in it is not a recipe for long life. We don't know if there were any open windows on the airplane either. Bad joke. Certainly appears to be on fire. Something obviously catastrophic happened on board. The main fuselage appears to be intact. And then we have brief footage here as well of the crash site. Let's so this, we believe, is the crash site from Prigozhin's airplane. There are reports of several bodies discovered there. It's hard to imagine anyone surviving that crash. So, so that's what we've got. We don't actually have a lot right now. This is still very new. As I said before, there's been a report that this was a shot down by... there's a report that this was shot down by Russian air defenses. We don't know. It certainly wouldn't surprise me. It clearly something catastrophic happened on board. Again, it hasn't broken up. The last time we had to deal with a airplane like this that had been shot out of the sky, we had brought on a Navy anti-aircraft gunner who talked about a sort of friendly fire, how this was when the Ukrainian airplane, the civilian airplane, was shot out of the sky in Tehran, and based on the breakup of the airplane, the fact that it was in fact largely in one piece, and the nature of what we could tell, what we were looking for from the explosion, he was able to deduce that it had been, in fact, a friendly fire incident. This was 48 hours before Tehran admitted to the fact that it was, in fact, a friendly fire incident. So, unfortunately, we don't have such an expert with us right now. And I'm trying to remember roughly what he went through and what you need to look for a friendly fire incident that may have taken down a plane. I honestly don't remember. It was several years ago. So, but it does look like the plane is largely intact. So my suspicion is that many of them may have been, in fact, alive as it was coming down out of, as it was, all right, we've got this. Yeah, we've got a second claim that this was Russian air defense. I don't know that we've got, did that end early? That may have. All right, we're going to show you that footage again. I believe on one of the pieces I clipped to it early, and I believe we've got sound, so we're going to play this, and it's not going to be in English, but if I can, I'll translate. We'll see what it says. Okay, there you go. This one.
Пиздец, это беспилотник. Сбили, бабахнуло в 2 раза, взорвалось, падает. Ты посмотри, падает. Где, блядь, бабахнет? Куда упал? Вон тут куски летят. Где ты, блядь, упал? Хуя дым пошел какой. А там куски летят еще. Смотри, какой клуб. Поднимается. Пиздец. Меня аж трясет. Хуеть. Где это? Не видать нихуя. Вон.
So she was saying, are you watching this? Where is it?
Горим. Не пойму, фену нет.
She said, I don't understand, but I lost the second half of that. All right. So,
Блядь, куда он падает-то? Ёб твою мать! Бля! Сука! Тихо, тихо. Сюда подойди. Пизда, он еще не упал. Пизда! Упал. Бля!
all right. So, multiple videos surfacing online of the crash. So for those of you just joining us, we believe that the let me bring this back up if I can. We believe that the founder of right now it's shut. No. Okay, that's a different. Okay. Dmitry, I've forgotten his name. The founder of Prigozhin, who is considered one of the founder of Wagner, who was considered one of Prigozhin's top lieutenants, along with Prigozhin himself, were in an aircraft which appears to have crashed inside Russia. Initial reports were 7 people were killed. Currently, the estimates are that, in fact, 10 people were on board, all dead. We do know that there are people on the site right now. We had some footage of it. We're trying not to show too much because we can't control whether or not we're going to be seeing bodies. And we've shown bodies before, but I think we'd like to try to avoid it without having an advanced warning. So All right, that's not the plane. At this point, there's a lot of theories going around that it was shot down by Russian air defenses. One theory shows a black dot on one of the photos that seems to suggest that that's another airplane. We don't know. We don't have any evidence of what brought it down. We do know that it seems to have come down largely in one piece and crashed into a smoldering heap. It's hard to imagine that anybody could have survived that. Daedalus Media for $4.99. I loved Utkin in his Bond movie appearance. I know. I was. It's basically Christopher Lloyd meets. Christopher Lloyd actually did play Thing in one of the Adams, or is it Thing? Yeah, he played Thing in one of the Adams. One of the scariest. Truly. Oh dear Lord. Let me. Oh, it's not cooperating now. Okay. Well, it's not gonna be able to do. I don't know. I want to show his picture again. Dear Lord. This man who's the founder of Wagner, we believe he was on the plane with Prigozhin, and we believe he has also died. We don't know anything else about any of the other people on the plane. You just basically see the plane falling out of the sky. Something obviously catastrophic happened on board that airplane. And at this point, it is believed that Prigozhin and the founder of Wagner are both dead, along with presumably 8 other people who were on board that airplane. This happened actually now about an hour and a half to 2 hours ago. And that's it. We honestly don't know very much. We are confident at this point that he was on the plane. The footage is being reported by multiple sources, and so we're pretty sure that this was him and his plane. We don't know what brought it out of the sky. Obviously, there was no way to attempt a controlled landing or anything. It looks like it doesn't look like either of the engines were working. It doesn't look like it was could sustain air flight in any meaningful way. It just sort of in what appears to be a flat spin falling out of the sky. And does appear to be on fire, so something catastrophic happened. As I said, when we had the footage of the Ukrainian civilian craft that had crashed out of Tehran, we had an anti-aircraft expert who was able to take a look at it and said, yeah, that was hit by an anti-aircraft failure. That wasn't a natural failure. That wasn't like the engines went out. It was something very quickly that struck the ship and took out, I believe he had said one of the engines. It was a while ago, and so I'm trying to remember how it was. I know nothing about anti-aircraft, so I don't know how to suss out from this footage what brought it down. I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot about it in the future. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit the live chat for a minute, and then I will do one more rundown, and I think we'll call it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more information coming about this, but we want to get this to you as quickly as possible. It does look like Prigozhin and the founder of Wagner are both dead. Should not have opened the window in that plane. That's exactly, yeah, that was basically what I said earlier. All right, so we have a report that somebody had zoomed in on a screenshot showing one wing and tail fin missing on its way down. So yeah, so that would indicate, I mean, if the main fuselage was intact, I would assume then that a bomb had not gone off inside. So if it's missing a wing and part of the tail fin, I would imagine, yeah, then it's been struck by something. Yeah, that would sound like some kind of air defense striking it to me. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna hear lots of claims. I don't know. I mean, the good news is, okay, who takes over Wagner? 𝐍𝐢𝐜𝐴. That's a good question. I mean, I think Wagner was almost all but dead anyway. I think it's going to all fall under military defense for Russia, which would mean essentially 𝐍𝐢𝐜𝐴. It's really going to be Putin. Wagner is now owned by Putin. I think we know that he had aspirations of either taking control of Russia or taking control of its military, and Putin has won. Putin will, at this point, I think, have eliminated every major member of Wagner. They're all either out of, and Wagner is now either fighting in Africa or in Belarus, getting trained to do who knows what over there. But I don't see Wagner surviving this, and I don't see any kind of reprisal unless there is somebody waiting in the wings. We do believe that Prigozhin had some form of compromise on Putin, and that's why this hadn't been done. This hadn't been done sooner. If he did, we can expect it to be released, hopefully. But we don't know. Maybe that Putin found out who or what it was and was able to get a hold of that and eliminate that first. It's very hard to tell. So, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic is not the. I'm hoping, and I hope that we find compromise, or that he's had some form of contingency in case this was done to him. He was a reasonably smart guy, and he has to know that they were planning something like this. Having said that, whatever his plans were, it appears that they are, for the most part, over. Prigozhin, and I think I just don't want to memorize the guy's name, Dmitry, and along with the founder of Wagner, two of the most important people. He was the right-hand man to Prigozhin, have apparently died in a car crash. The plane just fell out of the sky. Again, it's maybe someone opened a window. I don't know. Thank you very much, Daedalus Media, by the way, for the Super Chat $4.99. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your Super Chat. Those really do help, and we get a lot of Super Chats, of course, during the Starsky episodes, but all those go to charity. So we appreciate you Super Chatting and showing us your support. It's a large part of how we do what we do, and this has already been demonetized. We've shown a plane falling out of the sky. We get demonetized a lot. We don't get much ad revenue, and that's just part of the nature of what we do. So thank you so much for that Super Chat. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to see if I can snag. I think I'm blocking that guy's name. You see him he's just terrifying. Dear Lord. And I'm going to quickly check and see if we know anything else. So it looks like there's now reports that the other, almost all of the upper level commanders of Wagner were on that plane. So that's the latest update. So it wasn't just. It looks like okay. Yeah, it looks like. Hold on, I'm trying to. The official, okay. So there is a Wagner Telegram channel, and there appears to be talks of marching on Moscow. I will tell you right off the bat, I am disinclined to think that that's going to happen. I can say how and why in just a minute. They are saying now they have found 8 bodies at the crash site, so somewhere between 7 and 10. We know for a fact at this point, or at least with high confidence, we know that Prigozhin and Dmitry Utkin, who founded Wagner, was on the plane, and we believe now actually, for the most part, almost all of the Wagner high commanders were on that plane, and all are believed dead. So, all right. I've just heard from Commander McMillan, who says that he actually is disinclined to think it was anti-aircraft. There was no. We see a sudden ball of smoke followed by the aircraft suddenly spinning out of control towards the ground. All right. The last I had heard, he was in Africa, but we're hearing multiple reports that he was on that airplane. So we're going to stay on it. It's going to be on our Discord. At this point, we have high confidence that Prigozhin and Dmitry Utkin, and in fact all of the high members of Wagner were in fact on that plane, but at last report they were in Africa. So I don't know. At least Prigozhin was. So I guess this is going to have to be sorted out. What on the Telegram group for Wagner, they're saying that if Prigozhin was on that plane, if he is dead, they will organize a second, quote, march of justice to Moscow. I highly doubt that. The reason I doubt that, and we've had this kind of discussion before here, which is you can have millions of people willing to do something like this, and without credible leadership, it won't organize sufficiently to actually get it done. It's not just the will, it's having a leader who can actually organize people towards some cause. Without that leader, all the will just eventually dissipates. They can't actually, you have to have organization. It has to be someone who's credible, who can do it, and who people agree on. Without that, that kind of thing just doesn't happen. If most of the commanders of Wagner were on that plane, it's hard to imagine there being any kind of organization regardless of will. Now, if you've got a good leader, if you've got someone that people trust and are willing to get behind, then you could do something like this with a very small number of people. But the number of people past a certain point is meaningless. It doesn't matter that you have loads of people who want to accomplish something like that. You actually have to have some leadership towards doing it. Otherwise, it just turns into riots and you don't accomplish anything. And they're not going to be able to, isn't going to be sufficient rioting to take Moscow. So, while I'm delighted and would like to see, Putin suffer some consequences, not for justice's sake. I had no skin in the game with Prigozhin, and he didn't strike me as a particularly good guy. Having said that, it would be great if there was another march to Moscow. I don't see it happening. So, yes, Norwegian media is, I did fail to mention that, so thank you. There were 2 planes from Wagner. The second plane is landing in Moscow right now. The second plane turned around. So, a second plane had taken off with the first one when this happened. The second one turned around and went back. I was told to its original landing, its original takeoff site, which if it's landing in Moscow, then it may have been that's where it came off from. But there was, in fact, 2 planes. This was the first plane. No word as to who was on the second plane, but presumably the second plane was also Wagner. If Prigozhin has survived this, there could be a full-on coup. That is true. And I've got to tell you, okay, so if you're planning something like this, your Russian agent's planning this, you already have the message that he's dead out, and you get that out as quickly as possible. Commander McMillan has talked to us about sort of why you try to do that if you're trying to accomplish something like this. If it turns out he's alive, he's a lot easier to kill afterwards if everybody already thinks he's dead. So you want to control the message immediately. If it turns out he was on the second plane, and they're going to have people waiting at the airport to find out. If it turns out he's on the second plane, well, then you shoot and kill him as soon as he lands, if you can. So they, everything we're seeing, and this is being reported now by multiple sources, says that he was in fact on the first plane. So we have a high degree of confidence that he was on that first plane that crashed. We've shown it coming out of the sky. We've got a lot of new people here, so I'll probably show that again in just a minute, and then we'll wrap up. But Wagner doesn't really have the power to react or do anything anymore, which is kind of the point. I don't know if we'll ever find out exactly why Prigozhin pulled back, but as soon as he pulled back, he was dead. Somebody was going to kill him at some point for what he did, and it was just about dismantling him and taking away all his power. So doing it gently and saying, "Oh, don't worry, we'll compromise, we'll come up with a deal," and then killing him. I thought he might last a year. Obviously, he's only lasted a few months. Anyways, this is the plane. So, and then let's see if we can. Yeah, there it is. So, what appears to be a plume of smoke. Now, whenever something like this, we see something like this, the first question we have to ask is, why are they recording? We don't, in general, just take our cameras up and start recording the sky. So something must have alerted this person that they should start recording. They went up. They either heard an explosion. Who knows? Now, there does appear to be a plume of smoke there right at the beginning of the trail. That almost does look like a trail of a missile or something like that to me, but I'm not qualified to say what that is. There's another, what looks like trail of smoke. That single plume There's another trail. You can see it to the right and what appears to be below. It's probably not below. It's at any rate, I'm not capable of determining what that is, but judging from the last time we saw this, which again was Tehran, I'm kind of inclined to think it was shot down by something. But at any rate, let's. Macmillan says he thinks it's a bomb, and he's much more qualified than I am. So, 2 planes left. First plane purportedly had Prigozhin and high-level members of the Wagner group. That plane has fallen out of the sky and crashed. Human remains have been found. First reports were there were 7 people on the plane. Now reports are that there were 10. In any case, it is believed that they are all dead. We're going to watch the plane as it falls. Oh, hold on a sec. Let's go back one because I reversed those. I thought, okay, so this thing's falling out of the... Okay, so it looks like, yeah, so it looks like there was an explosion. It tried to maintain altitude for a brief period and then fell, is what it looks like.
Пиздец, это беспилотник. Сбили, бабахнуло в 2 раза, взорвалось, падает. Ты посмотри, падает. Блядь. Не пойму, фену нет.
Это самолет. Блядь, куда он падает-то? Ёб твою мать! Бля! Сука! Тихо, тихо. Сюда зайди.
Вон крылья.
Это крылья, думаешь?
Вон там движок.
Ты думаешь, второй тоже мертвый? Но один весь разорванный, а второй тоже? 1795 написано на крыле.
All right, so a couple of questions in the live chats. Not only that, because the speed of sound travels so slowly, especially compared to the speed of light, you're not going to hear it until well after it's detonated. So if there was an explosion, if there was an anti-aircraft, anything like that, you're not going to hear it until after it's detonated. So the question is, how far away are they? When did they likely hear it? And when did they start recording from that moment? You're not going to catch the explosion for that reason. If you hear something firing, you may start recording at that point and catch it. But even then, sound moves so slowly and it takes so long for it to reach you. It's hard to imagine anybody being able to have enough impetus to look up, record the thing before they actually hear it blowing up. So, yeah, they were most likely filming as air defenses were going up. That was, that was part of my thinking. They definitely caught some of this. So the question is, how long, if there was an explosion, how long before you heard it, then looked up into the sky? I'm going to go with air defense of some kind. But I don't know. I think we're going to find out. We're going to find out more. Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's really all we know. It looks like there were 2 Wagner airplanes. One of them, something catastrophic happened on board. It basically fell right out of the sky, crashed in a field. We've now shown footage of that, so you've got some idea of what happened. The other plane turned around and landed in Moscow. We don't know the status of Wagner. We don't know. We haven't heard anything official from Putin. I've got so we honestly have no idea what is going on. We've heard multiple sources now say that most of the highest members of Wagner were in that first plane. That includes Prigozhin, and that includes the founder of Wagner himself. All of them are believed to be dead. The manifest, I think, showed 7 people initially. They believe now that 10 were on board. So we'll find out. Let's see. Yeah, and Commander McMillan is correct. We don't actually see the explosion. So we'll look at this video one more time. I don't know that we're going to be able to glean much more from it, but yeah. So we can see the point at which an explosion appears to have occurred. And by the time this started filming, this plane has actually already descended a good deal. The explosion's on the left. It's that puff of smoke. The airplane was going from the. It appears to have been traveling from essentially the end middle of that sort of little cloud layer on the left. It was heading up towards the top of the frame. You can see it continuing with the smoke, and then it begins to fall. Let's I'm going to turn off the sound so it doesn't. And then you can see it start to fall at that, or continue to fall at that point. So it's been falling for some time by the time they started recording. Again, it takes so long for the sound to reach you anyway. I'm sure they started recording as soon as they heard the explosion. They looked up, saw that. So that's about what we're seeing. All right. So that's all we know. We are going to have a lot to talk about, I'm sure, with Lance tomorrow on Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Downtime, we'll be talking about any number of things, I suppose, this and a few other questions we've got for... we're figuring out now. We're going to have Lieutenant General Benjamin Hodges on both Monday and Wednesday of next week. That's Monday and Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll be on this channel. We're going to be talking about whether or not Ukraine can really win completely, have a full victory, get back all of its territory without a significant increase in support from NATO. And we're going to try to figure out where what NATO's long-term plans are and what's being done in order to maintain or to see that Ukraine can get back all of its territory without having to have a settled peace. We're going to see if that's possible. We're going to see what the general says about that. That will be on Wednesday's show, Monday's show. We're going to be talking, it's just going to be a personal interview. We're going to find out what life was like for him growing up, why he joined the military, what he's learned from being in the military, and we're also going to figure out what he thinks about the status of politics in the U.S. today, where he sees the future of NATO. It's going to be a great discussion, so I hope you guys will join us for that, and then Operator Starsky will be joining us Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on this channel. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for that super chat again. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow on Downtime with Commander Lance McMillan. And we'll be keeping up all of this on the Discord for those of you who are following it. Join us on the Discord, and you can find out where we stand and what's going on, as what appears to be a catastrophic plane crash has killed, we believe at this point, most of the higher level members of Wagner, including but not limited to Prigozhin himself. Have a good afternoon.